Hi everyone, Wonderhussy here on a beautiful spring day. I'm up here in, well, I know my shirt says Arizona. I'm not actually in Arizona, but I'm real close. I'm actually way over in the southeast corner of Nevada, just a few miles from the Arizona border, and for that matter, not far from the Utah border either. And I'm at a place that I've been a bunch of times, but for some reason I never made a video here, called Gold Butte. Gold Butte National Monument, to be precise. That's right, the federal government designated this as a national monument back in 2016 because apparently it's so beautiful and so full of historic stuff that it needed to be protected with federal monument status. But just like with the designation of Bears Ears and just recently Avi Kwa Ame as national monuments, there was a lot of pushback from conservatives. I guess once land is designated a national monument, it's protected from development, mining, or any other kind of resource extraction. And I guess that doesn't sit right with a lot of pro-business, anti-government folks. And Gold Butte in particular was contentious because it's located right down the street from the Bundy Ranch, site of the infamous 2014 standoff between a delinquent tax-paying rancher and the feds. Remember that? All those heavily armed cowboy militia dudes turned up on horseback and it was all over the international news? Well, the feds ended up backing down from that confrontation, but I guess they sort of got their revenge in a roundabout way by making all the land surrounding Bundy's operation protected federal property. But was the motivation revenge? Or is Gold Butte really that special that it needed protection from vandals and target shooters? I guess I'm naturally kind of skeptical myself. Whenever the federal government steps in and makes some kind of land a protected anything, it makes me suspicious. Because I don't care how beautiful some place is or how much, archaeological record there is. Since when does the federal government really care about any of that stuff? I mean, I've been here bunches of times over the years, mostly when I was working as an artistic nude model, and I do remember it being beautiful and having some pretty cool historic stuff. But it's been a few years, and I figured I could use a refresher. So let's drive on into Gold Butte. I have a bunch of different sites pinned on my map. Let's drive around, look at some of the highlights, and decide for ourselves if this landscape is really worth protecting as a national monument. Okay, we've arrived at the first stop on our tour of Gold Butte, and it's something called the Devil's Throat. The Devil's Throat is basically a giant sinkhole that unfortunately is totally fenced off with a sign that says, "Danger! Unstable ground! Stay out, stay alive!" So we can't look over the edge and see the bottom. But I can pretty much bet that whatever's at the bottom of the Devil's Throat probably looks pretty much like that sinkhole I explored in Utah a couple summers ago. Remember that? I went to go look at this sinkhole and there were these NASA scientists testing out a lunar rover, like a little lunar robot. It was wild. I'm just gonna go ahead and get back in my car and head on over to the next stop on our tour of Gold Butte, because my solitude is about to be interrupted anyway, but by these tourists. Boy, I guess Gold Butte isn't off the radar like I thought it was. One thing I should mention as I'm driving along here is that the roads are pretty rough out here. So if you want to come to Gold Butte, it's only about 2 hours north of Las Vegas. So you could do it as a day trip, but you would definitely want a high clearance, preferably 4-wheel drive vehicle for it. Okay, we've arrived at stop number 2. This is a place called Little Finland. You're probably wondering why this place is called Little Finland. I mean, if you're from the country of Finland, or you've ever been to the country of Finland, well then you know this looks absolutely nothing like the terrain in the country of Finland. Okay, Finland is way up in Scandinavia and it's probably cold, icy tundra covered in snow and frost most of the year. Well, out here it's all this crazy red sandstone rock, all these wild formations, and then these palm trees just sort of randomly growing out of the side of this cliff, which I'm guessing there must be some kind of little natural seeps or something. Like maybe when it rains, the water comes flowing down through these cracks and it's just enough water to sustain a palm tree or two. And they do stand out pretty dramatically against this red sandstone. I mean, there aren't too many trees around here, so these palm trees are a pretty big deal. But palm trees are more Hollywood than Finland, so why is it called Little Finland? Well, I think I know the answer to that, and it's up top there on that ridge. There's all these weird little ridges and formations, especially right here, you can see a pretty good one. I think they call these fins, you know, because they're kind of like skinny, long, narrow ridges of rock. The reason I think that's why it's called Little Finland is if you've ever been to Arches National Park in Utah, they talk about fins up there. Like there's a lot of similar red sandstone topography up there, and these, I don't know what you call them, fins, I guess. They're long, narrow, skinny formations, just like that thing. And so in Arches, they're called fins. I'm guessing that's just what they're called everywhere. And because there's so many of them up here, I think that's why they call this place Little Finland. You know, not so much like Finland, the country, but more like Finland. Land of many fins. And wow, look how beautiful this red sand is. Look at this. It's just like gorgeous orange sand. I used to play with this stuff all the time when I did nude modeling out here, you know, artistic nude modeling. We'd climb up into these rocks and do these arty poses, and then we'd, you know, let the sand trickle down on us. A little trailhead right here. And this will take us right out to the fins. Oh my God, look at how beautiful this freaking landscape is. I mean, I gotta stop for just a minute and do a quick pan. I mean, just the layers, the mountains in the back and then the mountains in the middle and then these crazy formations in the foreground. This landscape has amazing depth and color and texture. Anyway, let's go check out some of these fins. How do you guys feel about taking a walk on the wild side? Let's walk real close to the edge. Now, I'm not going to walk right along the cliff face because I don't want to fall. But, you know, I do want to walk pretty close to the cliff face because it's so interesting. I mean, look at these shapes. I mean, this is wild. Okay, look, here's a perfect example. I mean, these aren't, I don't know. These aren't the classic kind of fins like they have at Arches. You know, Arches, they're more like vertical. You know, they're like this way. You know, it looks like a shark's fin. These are coming out sideways. They're like longitudinal fins, but they're friggin' amazing. You know, I guess it's just water that did this over the days, weeks, months, years, eons, decades, millennia. Look at that. It's just, oh man, this is just so cool. I mean, holy wow. I'm really mad at myself or frustrated that I don't have more time to spend here because the way my crazy schedule is, I only have one day to do this whole Gold Butte, and realistically I could spend, I'm not exaggerating, I could spend a week out here. Easy. I mean, it's really like a desert wonderland out here. It really is. I mean, there's, God, can you imagine being on mushrooms up here, looking at all these shapes, textures, patterns? Look at this. It's like a little tiny mini Monument Valley. Like doll sized. Isn't that what those, like Chimney Rock or whatever in Monument Valley, doesn't that look like that? This is just a little miniature version. How cute. Okay, anyway, we better get back in the car because the next place I want to go check out is really cool too. I mean, that's the problem with Gold Butte. Everything here is so amazing. Okay, stop number 3 on our little Gold Butte tour is this awesome place called 7 Keyholes. I love how it has such a mystical Lord of the Rings name. And I think the reason it's called that is it's a slot canyon with a bunch of little keyholes in it that let light through the top. Oh, look at this. Please don't erase the traces of America's past. It's one of those signs you see in areas where there's petroglyphs. There must be petroglyphs down here somewhere. Yeah, look, there's some right here on this face. They're kind of faded, but well, you can still see some of them pretty clear. Wow, that's pretty cool. But petroglyphs aren't why I came down here. I came down here because I want to find this keyhole slot canyon, this slot canyon of the 7 keyholes. And it's not very well marked. There's no signage, so I'm just kind of following this trail, following all the footprints of people who came here before me, and hopefully it'll take us here. Oh, I'll bet you anything this is it. Wow. Holy cow. This is unbelievable. It's got a great echo. This is so cool. And I mean literally cool. It's a few degrees cooler down here. It'd be a godsend in the summertime. That's probably why there's those petroglyphs out here. I bet the Native Americans, the indigenous people who lived here, they used to come here and hang out in the summertime to get away from the scorching, brutal summer desert heat. Oh my gosh, yeah, look how the sun keeps peeking out. And of these keyholes, these are keyholes, right? The way this thing is shaped, that's a keyhole. This is wild. Man, this is one of those rare instances where something actually turns out to be as cool, if not cooler than you expect it to be. Just a wonderful place. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I drove all the way out here and hiked. It's not a long hike from the parking area is up top though, so you know what that means. I'm gonna have to huff and puff and hoof it all the way back uphill to my car, but that's okay because there's actually 2 more places I want to go before I run out of daylight. So unfortunately, as much as I'd like to just hang out in the mystical, magical, wonderful, and beautiful 7 keyhole slot canyon all dang afternoon, I'm gonna go ahead and huff and puff and make my way back up the hill to my car and go on to the 4th spot that I want to show you guys in fabulous Gold Butte National Monument. Okay, we are at the 4th stop on our tour. This is actually, I think, one of the most famous or noteworthy things about all of Gold Butte. Okay, you can see there's another one of those signs talking about please don't erase the traces of America's past. And this is a big fancy sign, much bigger and fancier than the one over at 7 Keyholes. So that should clue you in that the petroglyphs here are maybe more impressive than they were back there. And that's not to say that one petroglyph is more impressive than another. These petroglyphs, I've actually been here before and I remember seeing them. They're pretty well defined. And there's one of them in particular that is supposed to be very mysterious and nobody can quite figure out what it means. A lot of petroglyphs, you know, archaeologists have sort of figured out what they represent. You know, there's a lot of bighorn sheep to represent, you know, the hunt or fertility or whatever. And there's a lot of like shamanic symbols, spirals, and there's a lot of hashtag marks for them counting things. But there's this one petroglyph here that I guess archaeologists haven't been able to agree on what they think it means. Let's see if we can find it. Oh my goodness, look at this absolutely gorgeous landscape. This is what it looks like when you mash up Arizona, Utah, and Nevada, y'all. Where the 3 come together, it's absolute magic. You know what I mean? The Joshua trees, well, in this case, sort of pink sandstone. Just absolutely amazing. Okay, I don't remember exactly where these petroglyphs were, but I'm gonna do like I did at 7 Keyholes and just follow everybody else's footprints. That seemed to work for me there. Let's hope it holds true here. Oh yeah, look, it's leading right to this rock that looks like it has a bunch of petroglyphs on it. Well, there is a bunch of stuff carved up there, but I don't know. I mean, call me a petroglyph snob. None of that looks like super exceptional. I'll tell you what is exceptional though is this landscape. Look at these, look at the shapes in this rock. I mean, look how cool this is. First of all, there's like a little cave. You know, you can crawl right through that hole. And then look at this. This is like a pillar, I guess you would call it. You can go right around it. How about that? Well, this reminds me of my old nudie modeling days. Like in those days, I used to crawl into these little cubbies and do these like arty poses. And well, like I said, I would pick up this purdy sand and let it trickle over my body. Ooh, this is really fine. Almost feels like confectioner's sugar. Okay, anyway, I'm not here to sit around reminiscing about my days as a nude model. I'm here to find this one particular petroglyph. Okay, it wasn't there. There was kind of another trail going this way. Let me see if it's over here. Man, it's so nice and peaceful and quiet. I've been really lucky because there are actually a decent number of people out here recreating. Bunch of people with side-by-sides razzing around. A lot of people camping. But because it's such a vast area, I don't know how big Gold Butte is, but it's huge. You know, everyone's pretty spread out, and I've been lucky. You know, that one car came up on me at Devil's Throat, and I saw a couple other cars here and there, but it really hasn't been too bad. Okay, I'm gonna follow this trail a little bit farther. Plenty of footprints going this way too, and I'm hoping this is where this very famous mystery petroglyph is. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, spoiler alert, it's called Falling Man, and it's like a depiction, carving, etching of a man falling down, like falling through space, which is, I guess, very unusual with petroglyphs. Usually when, you know, it wasn't easy to carve those things, and so when they did, it usually was like a warrior, you know, killing a deer, or some kind of, you know, shaman doing some shaman stuff. Not some dude falling. So I'd really like to see it for myself, and, you know, try to figure out if maybe I can make some sense of it. Okay, Falling Man. Are you back here? I mean, there's a pretty well-trodden little path going to something back here. I don't see any Falling Man petroglyphs here. Maybe people are just hiking up here because there's this cool little peephole in the rock there. Let's go look at that peephole. Let's go look through it. Boy, are you guys ready for this? Unfortunately, the sun is going to be right through it, so it's going to be backlit, but oh my gosh, look how neat this is. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, unfortunately, it's real backlit, so it probably doesn't look as cool to you guys, but it looks amazing in real life. And, well, if you wanted to, you could even climb around over here and get a even better look. Why not? Oh my goodness, wow. Oh, I love this landscape. This is so beautiful. Look at this. And you can see what I'm talking about. Like, this one guy camped way out over there by himself. I don't even know if you can see because it's so backlit. And there's another guy camped way out there by himself, which I do need to start thinking about finding a place to camp myself, but I don't think it'll be a problem here. Okay, turning around and looking back the way we came, light is much better this way. Well, there is a pretty interesting petroglyph right there next to that peephole we just came through. In fact, this petroglyph is so unusual that I feel like, is that even really old or is that something new? It almost looks like it's a figure, but like with a mushroom head, and then these weird little arms coming out from all around it. I'm not gonna touch it because you're not supposed to touch petroglyphs because the oils from your skin can degrade them, but I don't know, that's not a falling man, but that's pretty cool. I still want to find the falling man though. But I don't want to be a falling woman, so I gotta be real careful. Go back through this little cubby. Alright. Well, gee, I don't know where else to look. I don't really see anything that looks like a falling man. I mean, here's some, looks like, I guess, bighorn sheep or some kind of deer or antelope or something. And, well, there's a guy standing straight up. And then up there, it's just some kind of like abstract geometric shapes. Oh, look, this is kind of cool. 1897. You suppose some pioneer carved that back in 1897? Oh, that's kind of cool. Falling Man. Yoo-hoo. Dang it. I guess I'm just going to have to let the Falling Man remain a mystery, because right now I gotta go find a place to camp for the night and hopefully show you guys this last really cool location before it gets dark. Okay, this is an area called Whitney Pocket, and I don't know who it's named after, who the Whitney is. I'm pretty sure it's not the same Whitney from Mount Whitney, because that's pretty far from here. But it's basically an otherworldly collection of weird rocks, and this one here is one of my favorites because of the way it's two-tone like that. And the light is hitting it just beautifully right now, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's orange on one side, and then yellow on the other side. But wait, there's more to Whitney Pocket. There's like this old stone, well, trough, I guess that's a trough, because this is open grazing for cattle over here, which is why Clive and Bundy got into all that trouble with the federal government. I don't think there's any water in this trough right now, but I guess normally there is. You can see there's a pipe going down underground, and then if you go back around this corner here into this little slot canyon, well, you can see there's a very well-trodden little path, and look back here. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a slot canyon. It's a dam. This is a dam, painstakingly built out of stone, and then there's this really cool stone staircase that I guess, no, it doesn't say you can't climb up it, so let's climb up it. This dam and staircase was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps, I guess, back in the 1930s. How about that? It's still standing, and it's still in such amazing shape. Last stair. Yikes. From up here, you can see the top of the dam. It's perfect. And I guess what happens is water comes gushing down this slot canyon here. Like when we get a monsoon thunderstorm, you know, it all comes gushing down that face. And you can see there's another dam back there, and I don't know, they're doing what they can to block it. There's still some water down there, enough to keep some animals alive. Oh, it's a bat. It's a bat. Sorry, feller. Don't get me. Oh my God, if that bat came at me right now and I flinched, I'm standing on this dam, and if I fell backwards, oh well, I wouldn't need to be looking for that falling man petroglyph anymore. I just think this slot canyon with this little staircase and this dam is so cool. I mean, what an incredible place. To answer my own question at the beginning of the video, you know, what do I think the federal government was up to making this a national monument? Well, maybe for once I'm going to have to give the federal government a thumbs up, because I think this landscape is 100% worth protecting. Between, you know, this old stone dam and those petroglyphs and the friggin' slot canyons and the gorgeous friggin' scenery. Oh man, you can see there's somebody camped right over there, and they got a beautiful campsite. I'll have to try to find something just as beautiful for myself. Anyway, between all the wonders of Gold Butte that I just explored in this one afternoon, I can totally see this place being worth protecting. You know, I'd sure hate to see some developer come out here and build a bunch of condos, or even worse, some gold mining operation come out and dig a giant cyanide leaching pit. I mean, Gold Butte, the name Gold Butte, is from, I guess there was some kind of gold mining town out here. There's nothing left of the town. I didn't drive to the town site for this video because I've been there before and I didn't think it was that interesting. But if you do come to Gold Butte and you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can go check out the original Gold Butte town site, and you can come check out this awesome dam and this staircase and the petroglyphs and the slot canyons. And my only recommendation is you allow yourself way more than just one afternoon. Anyway, I used to climb into all these little nooks and crannies and holes and pockets, I suppose you might say. I mean, it's called Whitney Pocket, I guess because it's like a pocket of colorful rock in a, I don't know why it's called Whitney Pocket, but I used to put myself into some of these little holes as if they were pockets. And oh, hang on, I need to wrap this video so I can go find a place to camp. But I just saw one more cool thing. Okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna show you in this video, but look how cool this is. It's some kind of weird little, I guess, cave shelter. I don't know if this is built by the Civilian Conservation Corps or what, but they kind of put like a half a brick wall in there just to sort of provide, well, I guess if it was real windy, you know, you could huddle back in here. In fact, it looks like somebody had some kind of fire back here. It's per city. Oh, look. Somebody left a little rock back here that says USA 2024. Oh, it's from the future. Post Facebook, USA rocks. NH 2022. Hey, this rock is from the future. I wonder if it has, well, it could tell us what's going to happen. Actually, I don't think I want to know what's going to happen. Future Rock, I'm going to put you right back in here. You can keep the secrets of the future to yourself, and I'll just let somebody else find it. Okay, now I need to go find a place to camp. I am ending this video.